Good day, all. Welcome back to the lecture series on British history and the history of England. Today we have our topic medieval towns. Medieval towns. At the start of the Middle Ages, most people lived in the countryside, either on feudal manors or in religious communities. At the start of the Middle Ages, most people lived in the countryside, either on feudal manors or in religious communities. But by the 12th century, towns were growing up around castles and monasteries and along trade routes. But by the 12th century, towns were growing up around castles and the monasteries and along trade routes. These bustling towns became centers of trade and industry. These bustling towns became centers of trade and industry. Outside of London, the largest towns in England were the cathedral cities of Lincoln, Canterbury, Chichester, York, Bath, Hereford, etc. Outside of London, the largest towns in England were the cathedral cities of Lincoln, Canterbury, Chichester, York, Bath, Hereford, etc. Almost all medieval towns were protected by thick stone walls. Almost all medieval towns were protected by thick stone walls. Visitors entered through gates inside homes and businesses lined unpaved streets. Visitors entered through gates inside homes and businesses lined unpaved streets. Since few people could read, signs with colorful pictures hung over the doorways of shops and businesses. Since few people could read, signs with colorful pictures hung over the doorways of shops and businesses. Open squares in front of public buildings, such as churches, served as gathering places. Open squares in front of public buildings, such as churches, served as gathering places. Most streets were very narrow. Most streets were very narrow. Medieval streets were crowded with people, horses, and carts, as well as cats, dogs, geese, and chickens. Medieval streets were crowded with people, horses, and carts, as well as cats, dogs, geese, and chickens. There was no garbage collection, so residents threw the garbage into nearby canals and ditches or simply out the window. There was no garbage collection, so residents threw the garbage into nearby canals and ditches or simply out the window. What brought most people to towns was business, meaning trade and commerce. As trade and commerce grew, so did towns. What brought most people to towns was business, meaning trade and commerce. As trade and commerce grew, so did the towns. At the beginning of the Middle Ages, most trade was in luxury goods, which only the wealthy could afford. At the beginning of the Middle Ages, most trade was in luxury goods, which only the wealthy could afford. People made everyday necessities for themselves. People made everyday necessities for themselves. By the high Middle Ages, more local people were buying and selling more kinds of products. By the high Middle Ages, more local people were buying and selling more kinds of products. These included everyday goods such as food, clothing, and household items. These included everyday goods such as food, clothing, and household items. So that's all about the topic medieval towns. In the next class, we will meet again with a different topic.